The Russian occupation army is suffering catastrophic and senseless losses in the Sumy sector. In Oleksiivka alone, approximately 400 soldiers from the 155th Marine Brigade of the Russian Armed Forces were killed in 2 summer months. These figures were announced by the Russian Z resource Northern Channel, which is associated with the Russian Armed Forces. According to this resource, the number of losses in just one unit amounted to hundreds of people. The 155th alone lost 400 people in June and July. 400. Think about that number, all missing. No one's properly organizing the evacuation, and there's zero information for families. The 155th has already fled in another direction. Relatives are trying to get some information from commanders through private messages, but they're simply being ignored or blocked. The channel wrote. He noted that today Oleksiivka has effectively ceased to exist as a result of active fighting. Recently, the same channel admitted that holding Oleksiivka had become pointless. Russia was suffering losses there without any sense in it. Sooner or later, Oleksiivka will have to be surrendered. That's a fact. Holding it is strategically stupid and morally criminal against the soldiers of the 30th Motorized Rifle Regiment, the remnants of the 810th Marines and the 2nd Special Forces Brigade. But the command has its own thoughts on the matter. Recently, Ukrainian soldiers have planted flags in different parts of the village of Oleksiivka in Sumy region. The fighters are gradually regaining control over the settlement. This was reported by the soldiers of the 225th Separate Assault Battalion. The military noted that the Russians are trying to defend themselves, but in vain. The defenders are eliminating the enemy, and they are unable to retreat. If Russian soldiers here could realize they are just another group of "you can't keep track of them all," they would run like the Marines of the 810th Brigade. Instead, they are dug in up to their ears without water or food. The only thing left for them is to dream of survival, the military added. Earlier, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenski said Ukrainian forces had completely thwarted the Russian offensive operation on Sumy. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Oleksandr Syrsky, said Ukrainian defenders had stopped Russian forces in the region and the situation had shifted into positional fighting. Ukraine's successes extend beyond Sumy. Ukrainian defense forces are conducting counter-offensive operations near Dobropilya and around Pokrovsk in the Donetsk region. Russian forces have already lost more than 2,500 personnel killed, wounded, or captured, while Ukrainian forces have liberated 160 square kilometers of territory.
American companies could soon be running a version of TikTok if a deal to sell U.S. operations of the popular social media platform is reached between the Trump administration and TikTok's Chinese parent company, ByteDance. Tech giant Oracle will receive a copy of the algorithm powering TikTok to operate for U.S. users, according to a senior official in President Donald Trump's administration on Monday. Determining next steps for the algorithm, currently owned by the Beijing-based ByteDance, has been one of the most closely watched issues during negotiations over TikTok's future. The Trump administration official, who insisted on anonymity to discuss the emerging deal, said they believe the plan will satisfy national security concerns if TikTok divests from its Chinese parent, ByteDance. President Joe Biden signed bipartisan legislation before leaving office requiring the Chinese company to sell its assets to an American company or face a ban. American officials have previously warned the algorithm that fuels what users see on the app is vulnerable to manipulation by Chinese authorities, who can use it to shape content on the platform in a way that's difficult to detect. Oracle would receive a copy of the algorithm and oversee the app's security operations. The algorithm would be fully inspected and retrained, the senior White House official said Monday. In a call with reporters, the official later emphasized that the content recommendation formula would be retrained only on U.S. data in order to make sure the system is behaving appropriately. It is currently unclear if retraining the US copy of the algorithm on local data would essentially create a separate TikTok experience just for domestic users. However, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said on Monday that TikTok will remain TikTok, globally interoperable, so users in the U.S. will be able to see videos posted by users in other countries and vice versa. Full details on investors have not been released. However, the official confirmed that the U.S. operations will be a new joint venture with a board of directors that will have a majority of American members. Oracle and Silver Lake, a private equity firm, are the only confirmed consortium participants so far. President Trump said prominent billionaires including media mogul Rupert Murdoch and tech founder Michael Dell could be part of a deal in which the U.S. will take control of the social video platform TikTok. Trump name-dropped the 94-year-old Murdoch and his son Lachlan Murdoch, the head of Fox News and News Corp, as part of a group of possible participants in a deal during an interview recorded Friday and aired Sunday on Fox News. The White House official also said that under the preliminary deal, which still requires Chinese officials to sign off on a framework agreement, the United States will not take equity stake in the new venture or have representation on the controlling committee.
We're learning more about which American companies could run TikTok in the United States.
The TikTok deal is well on its way, as you know, and the investors are getting ready.
The Trump administration and TikTok's Chinese parent company ByteDance are still working on a deal to sell U.S. operations of the popular social media platform. Tech giant Oracle would receive a copy of the algorithm powering TikTok and oversee its security operations in the U.S., according to a senior White House official. Americans would also hold a majority of seats on a board overseeing this new U.S. operation. Oracle and Silver Lake, a private equity firm, are the only confirmed consortium participants so far.
You know, they're very well-known people, and Larry Ellison's one of them. He's involved. He's a great guy. Michael Dell is involved.
In a recent interview, President Trump said other potential TikTok investors include tech businessmen Michael Dell and Lachlan and Rupert Murdoch, who own Fox News and News Corp. Many details are still being worked out. We don't know all of the investors or board members or how much TikTok is being sold for. It's also unclear if retaining the US copy of the algorithm on local data would essentially create a separate TikTok experience just for domestic users. But White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt claimed that US users would still be able to see videos posted by TikTokers in other countries and vice versa. Chinese and US officials have until December 16th to hash out the details, following the latest deadline extension by the Trump administration.
Would you say this is your most popular cocktail?
It always puts
Happy Monday. Good to see all of you here. I want to start with a preview of and TikTok will remain globally interoperable, meaning TikTok users in the US will be able to see videos posted by users in other countries and vice versa.
下午好，欢迎参加今天的 UP 会。今天呢，我没有向大家